I've got a fun flight for you guys planned today. We're going to Yoke again. I've only been out there like 2 or 3 times. It's a more challenging circuit for sure. We're loading up with a bunch of wood up in the cabin, but because I don't have a lot to go in the pod, I actually have to fill it up with ballast weight. I actually have to fill up jugs of water to put in the first pod down here so that I'm not FCG. So that's what those guys are doing right now. Adam's getting the fuel truck, fuel me up. I'm trying to do a quick turnaround so I can get out there before it's too late, before the winds might change or the clouds might be rolling in. So let's finish loading and then get out of here on a 35-minute flight. Let's go ahead and dip our fuel. 240 on that side. 130 on this side. We're on a hill right now, so basically I'm just trying to get like the total number. We're at 370. That's what I landed with, so I'm good to go there. Okay, the guys have this tied down here now. Like I was saying, the drum, it's just an empty drum, is as far forward as we can get it, and yeah, this only comes back to about where the back seat goes. Not really even the back seat. Back seat's back there, so that should work well for my CG. We're already fueled up. Weather's beautiful. They just sent us a text saying weather's great out there. So let's get going. Got our fuel on, igniter's on, fuel pump on, and a low start. NG's over 14%. We'll introduce our fuel. Been shut down for, I don't know, 40 minutes or so now, so ITT's coming up at a regular rate. 6:35. It's a 35-minute flight out there. Like I was telling you earlier, this is a more challenging circuit by far. You really kind of have to have more of like a 800 foot initially, 800 to 900 foot descent on your initial approach. And then it kind of about, I don't know, almost halfway starts evening out to more like a 550, 600 feet per minute on the descent. So it is a little more challenging. It's just really tight mountains all close in, but there's an incredible waterfall out there if you haven't seen the videos out there yet. The most incredible one I've seen yet here in PNG. We've got 780 on the fuel. Weight and balance, we've got 1,973 pounds loaded. Our empty weight is 4242, that's good. Come up at 7,200 pounds exactly, perfect. Grove Tower, Nova Tango, Zulu request taxi, Yoke 1 POV.
Nova Tango, Zulu, Grove Tower, taxi to runway 17 left, backtrack lineup, QNH 1019.
1019, clear to backtrack lineup 17 left, November Tango Zulu. This is actually my second flight of the day out here. I already had one I left at 8 in the morning. It is now 10:19 in the morning. But we had already loaded everything up from yesterday in the afternoon. Well, I didn't, our guys did. So there really wasn't much going on. I figured this would be a little bit more interesting. November Tango Zulu ready for departure.
November Tango Zulu, runway 17 left, make a left and clear for takeoff.
17 left turn, clear for takeoff, November Tango Zulu. 30 degrees, 5,000, 1320, ignition condition, flaps 20, fuel and harnesses. Alright, there is torque is set, airspeed's alive.
4120.
I feel heavy.
Confirm maintaining 16,000.
Cessna family maintaining the 16,000.
And there's 63 for rotate.
Linden 4120. Go ahead, estimate overhead Ikaru.
Estimated Ikaru 0035.
Definitely feel the density altitude today. There's 0 degrees flaps. And let's go ahead and bring our prop on back to 2,000 RPM. And we'll also just bring our ITT to 720, make our left-hand turn out of here. Looks like it's already clearing up since when I just came in here maybe 45 minutes ago. Weather report out at Yoke sounded like it was about the same as my first flight, which is absolutely perfect. A little bit of wind maybe on approach, maybe like 4 to 5 knots at most. Get our landing, bypass, and ignition off. Rogue Tower, November Tango Kilo departed at time 24, tracking 086 on climb 1000. Estimating yaw wind on the hour.
November Tango Zulu on climb 1000. 15 miles, contact Mosby 123.9 HF 8861.
1239er 8861 at 15, November Tango Zulu. Now, if you're wondering, what is all this wood going out to a bush location for? Well, we've got some brand new missionaries that are moving in out there. They're building 3 houses and also a translation house, or building, or office, or something like that. I will go up there and show you guys probably in a couple of weeks. We're going to be doing like 80 flights out of here in the next like 8 weeks. So, yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of flights out to Yawen. So, when they start getting some progress on their homes, they've just got the ground kind of straightened up a little bit today. So I'll walk up the hill with you guys and show you guys the progress. I'll probably on another video when I have maybe a little bit more time. And probably what I'll do is on one of those times I'll probably be bringing my wife out here just so she can see a little bit more of what I do every day and just bring her along on a flight. Well, while we're in the climb, let's go over our strip chart, what we're going to be expecting once we get out there. This place is a one-way airstrip. Let me just show you some drone shots of the place because it's absolutely gorgeous out there. It's a one-way airstrip and the circuit is pretty tight as far as turning final. Basically, my base to final, once I turn final, I've got about 2 seconds before I'm committed to land, because at that point, because my plane's so heavy, because the mountains rise so quickly, I don't have enough time to turn and get out of the valley before the terrain's just rising up. So usually it's about after 2 seconds of wings level, you're like, okay, if everything's looking good, then we're just going to continue and I'm committed to land no matter what. Something runs out on the runway, I'm committed to land no matter what. When you get that through your head, then it's an easy decision. I think it was a couple times ago out here, I had chickens on the runway. But I was like, well, they're either going to get hit or they're going to move. And I barely missed them by about 6 feet. Touchdown elevation is 4,400 feet. Touchdown slope is 8 to 9%. So anything over 7% slope, I add 1 knot per percentage of slope. So 7 I add 1, 8 I add 2, you go, all the way up to around 12 or 13 where I'm adding probably like 5 knots. Now the reason why is because as you come in to a sloped runway, you have to match the slope before you flare. You can't just flare because you have to transition to this portion. And to do that, you need extra knots so you can bleed those off so you don't just pancake into the ground.
Yeah, go to the tower.
Moresby 1239er, November Tango Zulu transfer. I don't think I'm going to get him on this one. Nope, we'll try HF. Moresby 8861, November Tango Zulu transfer.
November Tango Zulu, Moresby 8861.
Morning, good November Tango Zulu, 17 miles to the east, Goroka, 1000. Estimating Yawan time on the hour, requesting to transit Nadzab airspace, direct Goroka, Yawan, track 088 at 1000.
November Tango Zulu, Moresby, copy, no reported traffic, standby for clearance.
November Tango Zulu. So this morning I was able to just wiggle my way around all of Nadzab's airspace, but because the day is going on now, the clouds are starting to rise up, that's probably not going to be an option for me to get over the last mountain range because the clouds, I'm guessing, are going to be a little bit higher than 11,000, considering these ones are already at like 13,000 almost. So rather than having to go way around the airspace, it's easier just to get clearance just to go through it, especially on just a direct track. Sometimes it's a pain because they don't have radar, and so they want you to give them VOR radials as you pass along each point, and then it's just a lot of extra work. Still waiting on my clearance from Nadzab. Basically, you've got the upside down wedding cake going out, right? This one's at 13,000 feet. If we come up here, there's 13,000 feet.
come over here, which I'm not going to be going in, that starts at 8,000, and then this next one over here starts at 10,000. So you can see I'm only going through a sliver of their airspace.
Small speed hotel, Foxtrot, taxi.
But still technically I do need clearance to go through their airspace. Looking ahead, the clouds have not risen up as much as I was anticipating. I was kind of guessing they'd already be at like 12,000 by now, because that's kind of what the forecast was showing, is just a lot of building up. Getting back into Goroka, the forecast was that there's going to be some rain starting to build, kind of in the gaps getting back into the valley, but with how nice it is, I don't think that's going to actually happen today. At least not by noon.
You clear to traffic control space on track 087 to Yawan. Route about 11,000.
Clear to transit, NADZEP airspace 11,000 direct Goroka, Yawan. November Tango Zulu.
Tango Zulu, amended radio range 1009.
1009er, November Tango Zulu. Now you guys can see how I've made these strip charts, and it has my circuit kind of just a nice downwind and stuff. I wish I could draw on here, but you got a mountain right through there, and there's a low spot right at the end of the runway. So basically what I'm going to do is not fly quite like this, because I'm coming in from really kind of the west. So basically I'm going to come around the runway, that way everybody knows I'm there, because if I just enter in here, there's a huge mountain, they're not even going to hear me until I'm on short final. Come around, and then rather than doing a circuit like this, I'm just going to do a teardrop entry right into a base. So I know I want full flaps to this area. I know I want 4,900 feet by this last ridge. Push over, get down as much altitude as I can in the last 5 seconds before turning final. We're just approaching our top of descent now, looking straight ahead. There's a lot more clouds out here now than there was on the first time. The first time there was no clouds on any of the ridges, but this is kind of what I was expecting for this flight. So you can see the lighter area up in here, and it kind of goes around, and all the dark areas, those are all the highest mountains, and the light area is where the valley is. So what I'm kind of anticipating I might have to do is head out more towards down the valley to work my way up into it. It's a fairly tight valley.
Vertical track.
Once you get into it, we set up 1,000 feet per minute, so let's go on down, turn this down to 6,000 feet. We'll put it at 900 initially. It zooms on by, and then there's 1150, 1200. As it starts trying to level back off at 900, we'll put it at 1,000, we'll even out there. We'll have to turn to the left here because, yeah, I'm not seeing any clear pathways to get into that valley yet. So we'll just head on down here. It's completely open, just like I was thinking right here in this big wide valley. Go ahead and start our checklist. Those selectors, our fuel selectors, and our brakes are good. Turn our terrain awareness system off. Our VREF, which is our landing speed, 7,000 now, which would be 74. We're going to add 2 knots because it's 8% on touchdown, 8 to 9%. We're going to add 2, so 76 knots. Lights and inlet. And abort. If we have to go around, it's power up, 20 degrees of flaps, immediate right-hand turn out, resetting our ITT to 740. You guys like these boxes? Never seen one? These are takeoff and landing checklist box. All your critical items for takeoff and landing, so they keep your eyes up and out. Like, they are absolutely vital here because you don't want to be using a paper checklist where you could potentially lose your position, miss items, things like that. It's very tactile, so I absolutely love it. Check out my website if you'd like to pick one up. I've got them for simple airplanes, complex airplanes, turbines, and as well as you can even customize them to say whatever you want on there now. All stations, Yawan, 123.9er, November Tango Zulu, 9er miles to the west, 900,000. Circuit time on the hour, Yawan. Moresby 8861, November Tango Zulu, in the circuit, Yawan, cancel, correction, report after landing.
Moresby, copy.
All station, Yawen, November Tango Zulu in the circuit, Yawen. Well, we are 5 miles away, a little bit less. Don't see it yet, lots of clouds, but I think it should open up by the time I get over top of this ridge. There we go, straight ahead. Only about 2,000 feet higher than I wanted to be. We've got 10 knots of wind coming out of this direction, which means I'll probably have a headwind for landing because it's going to hit the hill and then turn. But then it swirls around over there, and so then I have a headwind for takeoff. Figure that one out. But almost every time, I've got a headwind for landing and takeoff. When we go over by this waterfall, it's spectacular. The first few times I came out here, I didn't have any instructor with me, so I didn't really have a good baseline of exactly how I'm going to enter into the circuit and everything. So I've come out here a few times, came out with Brad, and went over everything that I learned with him, and then we kind of came up with a better game plan between the two of us that I like a lot better, kind of entering into the circuit this way. Because then you have a good opportunity to look at the runway so that they all know that you're here. Yeah. Look at this waterfall as we go by. Hopefully they can clear off all the animals. There was chickens on takeoff and a dog. Coming up to circuit altitude of 5,100 feet. Let's go 10 degrees of flaps. Let's come out here a couple miles and do a teardrop back into our base. Coming over this hill right here, 4,900 feet, really close to a tree, really close to a tree. Go at 1.5, there we go, 1.5 miles. If I can start coming up with like exactly the same every time, makes my life a lot easier. So 1.5 miles out. Last time I felt like I turned around a little bit early. Up into 4,900 feet. At the river, we'll go full flaps. There's full flaps. Checklist is complete. Slowing to 86 and then 76 over this last ridge before turning final. There's my 76 knots already.
500.
Turning final. We're now crosswind. All right, looks good. I'm committed. I'm not headwind. $500. Moore's V at 861 November Tango Zulu. On the ground, Yawen, cancel SAR.
November Tango Zulu, Yawen, towards terminated.
November Tango Zulu. Alright, I'm gonna unload this with the help of a bunch of people. And then I'm gonna do a time lapse back to Goroka. So stay tuned for this flight heading back to Goroka. Get this fuel off though.